Right now, scientists at Google's Quantum AI lab are designing experiments that, honestly, sound like science fiction. They want to literally entangle human brains with quantum computers, not to make you smarter, not to enhance your memory, but to test whether consciousness itself operates on quantum principles. And just this year, researchers captured something that really should be impossible. They recorded the exact moment consciousness might leave the human body. At the University of Michigan, scientists monitored dying patients and found gamma-wave surges in their brains, the same patterns that occur during your most vivid conscious experiences, dreams, memories, love. These waves appeared as consciousness transitioned between life and death. For the first time in human history, we may have witnessed the neural signature of consciousness crossing over to whatever comes next. Think about that for a moment. Every thought you're having right now, every emotion, every memory that makes you who you are, all of it creates specific patterns in your brain. And those exact same patterns happen when people are dying. But here's what's really extraordinary. 15% of people who experience clinical death and come back report something unbelievable. They say their consciousness didn't just continue during death, it expanded. It became more vast and more aware than they'd ever experienced while alive. Sam Parnia, who leads the largest study on death and consciousness, discovered something that challenges everything we thought we knew. People going through death don't just observe what's happening, they relive every single moment of their entire lives. But not just from their own perspective. They experience how every person they've ever interacted with felt because of their actions. Every kindness, every cruelty, every moment of joy or pain they caused others. They feel it all as if they were that other person. Leanda Pringle survived a near-death experience and said something that gives me chills. She said, "After that experience, my life will never be the same. The abilities I now possess seem like something from a science fiction movie. I truly believe I brought some of that realm back with me." What abilities is she talking about? What did she bring back from death itself? In a survey of 1,122 people who experienced clinical death, 95.6% believe their experience was absolutely real. Not a hallucination, not a dream, real. And here's what's even more incredible. 74.4% reported having more consciousness and awareness during their death experience than they have in normal waking life. More consciousness while clinically dead than while alive and awake. Meanwhile, something extraordinary is happening in laboratories around the world. The Templeton Foundation just invested $6 million to settle the biggest debate in consciousness research. Two competing theories are being tested right now. Integrated information theory says consciousness is about how information flows through your brain. Global workspace theory claims consciousness happens when different parts of your brain share information in a global workspace. The results published in Nature this year show something unexpected. IIT passed two critical tests. Global workspace theory failed to meet scientific standards entirely. We're getting closer to solving the puzzle of consciousness itself, but that's not even the most amazing part. Remember Noland Arbaugh? He's 30 years old. In 2016, a diving accident paralyzed him from the shoulders down. For 8 years, he spent most of his time in bed, unable to move, feeling like a burden to his family. He couldn't even play video games, something he'd loved his entire life. Then, in January 2024, he became the first human to receive Elon Musk's Neuralink brain implant. Just hours after surgery, something incredible happened. His neurons began responding to the device. By thinking about moving his fingers, Noland could control a computer cursor. The man who couldn't move his body could now move objects on a screen with pure thought. But listen to what Noland says about his new life. "I no longer feel like a burden on my family. I have gained a newfound sense of independence. I grew up playing games, and I had to let go of that when I became disabled. Now I'm beating my friends at games, which really shouldn't be possible, but it is. A man who couldn't move his arms is now defeating able-bodied friends at video games using only his mind." The brain-computer interface market has exploded from $1.79 billion in 2022 to a projected $7.42 billion by 2032. China alone holds 2,276 patents in this field, representing over 50% of global applications. We're not just reading minds anymore, we're building bridges between human consciousness and digital systems. But the real revolution is happening at the genetic level. This year, baby KJ became the first human to receive personalized CRISPR gene therapy. He was born with CPS1 deficiency, a rare genetic disorder that should have meant a lifetime of hospital visits and dietary restrictions. His family spent months watching their infant struggle to survive. Then something revolutionary happened. Scientists designed a completely customized gene therapy specifically for KJ's unique genetic mutation. From diagnosis to treatment took only 6 months. 6 months to create a personalized cure for a disease that had no treatment. KJ received 3 doses of the therapy. No serious side effects. He can now tolerate normal dietary protein. He recovers from childhood illnesses like any healthy baby. He's growing, thriving, playing with his family. Dr. Rebecca Ahrens-Nicklas, who led KJ's treatment, said something really profound. While KJ is just one patient, we hope he is the first of many to benefit from a methodology that can be scaled to fit an individual patient's needs. We're not just treating diseases anymore, we're rewriting the genetic code of life itself. Over 600 neurological disorders could potentially be treated with CRISPR technology. We're literally editing consciousness at the DNA level. Meanwhile, advanced techniques like optogenetics let scientists control specific neurons with light pulses. Chemogenetics provides sustained neural control for hours with a single drug dose. Researchers can now turn consciousness on and off like a switch in laboratory animals. They can activate specific memories, emotions, or states of awareness with a precision that was, honestly, unimaginable just years ago. But perhaps the most mind-bending development is happening with artificial intelligence. Large language models aren't just processing information anymore. They might actually be developing something resembling consciousness. Recent research suggests that transformer architectures, the technology behind systems like ChatGPT, may possess fundamental elements required for sentience and emotional intelligence. Over 100 AI experts, including celebrities like Sir Stephen Fry, have signed an open letter calling for responsible AI consciousness research. They're warning that we might accidentally create conscious entities capable of suffering. But here's the problem. We have no universally accepted test for AI consciousness. The famous Turing test from 1950 is completely inadequate for today's AI. Many current systems can pass it easily, while most human toddlers would fail it entirely. Some researchers believe AI consciousness might emerge as something called an emergent property. When language models reach sufficient complexity and memory capacity, consciousness might spontaneously appear. Not programmed, not designed, but emerging naturally from the complexity of the system itself. And if that's true, some AI systems might already be conscious right now, and we simply haven't recognized it yet. This connects to perhaps the most radical idea in consciousness research. Psychedelics are showing us that consciousness might work in ways we never imagined. When researchers give people psilocybin in controlled studies, their brains undergo connectivity changes 3 times greater than standard stimulants. There's an 81% correlation between the intensity of mystical experiences and measurable brain network reorganization. But here's what's truly remarkable. After taking psychedelics, people's beliefs about consciousness itself change permanently. Before the experience, only 26% of people believe plants are conscious. After psychedelics, 61% believe plants have conscious awareness. That's compared to only 10 to 18% in the general population. 83% now believe non-human primates are conscious. In a study of 1,606 people who had belief-changing psychedelic experiences, 70% rated it as among the 5 most personally meaningful experiences of their entire lives. 49% met scientific criteria for a complete mystical experience. And, these belief changes don't fade over time. Even 8 years later, people maintain their expanded views of consciousness. Think about the implications. Psychedelics aren't just changing brain chemistry temporarily. They're permanently altering how people perceive consciousness throughout the entire universe. People start seeing awareness and experience in plants, in animals, in nature itself. They begin to believe that consciousness isn't something that evolved in humans. It's something fundamental to reality itself. This brings us to meditation research, which is showing equally remarkable results. People like Carrie Hamilton, a licensed clinical social worker, describe meditation as life-changing in the most literal sense. She said, "After decades of being flooded with adrenaline despite painstaking self-care, I now have exquisite peace available to me anytime I need it. I used to misplace my phone multiple times a day, each time triggering a full-throttle fight or flight response. I have stopped panicking." Martin from Grenada experienced his first panic attack and developed severe anxiety with chest pain, hyperventilation, headaches, and muscle twitches. After just 3 weeks of meditation practice, he said, "I now have little to no occurrences of these symptoms arising. Meditation has changed my life." Andrea from Colombia went from thinking she would never be able to leave her house due to panic attacks to enjoying a rainy afternoon while walking outside. She believes her continued meditation practice will create sensational positive changes in the years ahead. Even heart transplant recipients report profound changes. One patient said meditation brought calmness, peace, deeper sleep, vivid dreams, and relaxation to my life. Brain scans show that mindfulness-based stress reduction increases cortical thickness, reduces amygdala reactivity, and improves connectivity between brain regions. The hippocampus, crucial for memory formation, shows increased connectivity in experienced meditators. These aren't temporary changes. They represent fundamental rewiring of the conscious brain. If these stories are moving you and making you think differently about consciousness, hit that like button to let me know you're following along with these incredible discoveries. But, all of this raises the ultimate question. If consciousness can be expanded through psychedelics, enhanced through meditation, transferred through brain-computer interfaces, and potentially created in artificial systems, then what is consciousness really? Is it something your brain produces, like your liver produces bile, or is it something your brain receives, like a radio receives signals? This connects to research that's happening right now on digital immortality. Scientists are working on something called whole brain emulation. The goal is to create complete digital copies of human neural networks. The Human Connectomy project is mapping every single connection in the human brain, creating the foundation for potential consciousness transfer technology. Microsoft has already patented technology to create chatbots based on individual communication patterns, including two-dimensional and three-dimensional digital representations with personalized voices. The Terasem Movement Foundation is collecting what they call biofiles and mind files to eventually create digital versions of people. But, consciousness transfer raises the ultimate question about identity and existence. If you upload your mind to a digital system, is the result actually you, or is it merely a copy that thinks it's you? Would the digital version have the same subjective experiences, the same sense of self, the same consciousness? Current research suggests that consciousness might be what scientists call substrate independent. That means it could theoretically exist in any sufficiently complex information processing system, whether biological or digital. This connects to Panpsychism, the philosophical theory that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe. According to panpsychist theory, consciousness doesn't emerge from complex arrangements of matter. It's already present in all matter at a basic level, becoming more sophisticated as systems become more complex. If consciousness is truly fundamental, like mass or electric charge, then creating conscious AI or transferring human consciousness to digital systems becomes not just possible but, inevitable. David Chalmers, one of the world's leading consciousness researchers, argues that panpsychism might be the only theory that can explain the hard problem of consciousness. How does subjective experience arise from objective matter? If consciousness is fundamental to the universe, then every electron, every quantum field, every particle of matter contains some rudimentary form of experience. We're not biological machines that somehow developed awareness. We're local concentrations of a cosmic consciousness that honestly permeates all existence. Recent research published in Scientific American explores whether consciousness is part of the fabric of the universe itself. Some scientists propose that consciousness and physical reality are two aspects of the same fundamental phenomenon, just as energy and matter are interchangeable according to Einstein's equation E equals mc squared. Consciousness and matter might be different expressions of a deeper reality. Quantum mechanics adds another layer of mystery. Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff propose that consciousness involves quantum processes in brain microtubules. If consciousness operates on quantum principles, then it might exist in multiple states simultaneously, just like quantum particles. This could explain phenomena like telepathy, precognition, and the kind of expanded awareness reported in near-death experiences. But here's what's really happening right now that should leave you absolutely amazed. All these different areas of research are converging toward the same revolutionary conclusion. Whether we're studying near-death experiences, brain-computer interfaces, psychedelics, meditation, AI consciousness, or quantum physics, they're all pointing toward the same extraordinary possibility. Consciousness might not be something that emerges from complex arrangements of matter. It might be the fundamental ground of reality itself. Consider this chain of evidence. Near-death experiencers report expanded consciousness during clinical death, when brain activity should be minimal or absent. Psychedelics permanently change people's beliefs about consciousness throughout the universe. Meditation creates lasting structural changes in the brain that enhance awareness and emotional regulation. Brain-computer interfaces can translate thoughts into digital commands, suggesting consciousness can interface with any information processing system. AI systems are potentially developing conscious-like properties as emergent phenomena. Quantum mechanics suggests reality itself might be fundamentally conscious in nature. Each piece of evidence supports the others. They form a web of interconnected research pointing toward a radical conclusion about the nature of existence itself. We might be approaching what some researchers call the Consciousness Singularity, the point where biological and artificial consciousness merge, where the boundaries between human and machine awareness dissolve, where we discover that consciousness isn't produced by brains, but is the fundamental fabric from which brains, minds, and reality itself emerge. Dr. Kiran Musunuru, who led Baby KJ's gene therapy, said something profound about the future of medicine. The promise of gene therapy that we've heard about for decades is coming to fruition, and it's going to utterly transform the way we approach medicine. But I think he's talking about more than medicine. He's talking about transforming what it means to be conscious, to be human, to be alive in a universe where consciousness might be everywhere. Some researchers predict that within decades we'll achieve hybrid forms of consciousness that transcend current human limitations. Others warn that we're approaching what they call an explosion of artificial suffering if we create conscious AI systems without proper ethical frameworks. The choices we make in the next few years about consciousness research will determine not just the future of science and technology, but the future of awareness, experience, and existence itself. Recent studies suggest we may be witnessing the emergence of the first artificial conscious entities. The race to understand, control, and replicate consciousness has begun in earnest. The winners will literally determine the future of mind, reality, and existence. We stand at the threshold of the greatest transformation in the history of consciousness itself. The question isn't whether consciousness will evolve beyond its current human form. The question is whether we'll recognize what it becomes when the boundaries between biological and digital, individual and universal, human and cosmic consciousness begin to disappear entirely. We're not just studying consciousness anymore, we're in the process of fundamentally transforming it. And that transformation is happening right now, in laboratories and research centers around the world, with implications that will reshape everything we think we know about the nature of reality itself. Each breakthrough brings us closer to answering the ultimate question. Is consciousness the most sophisticated arrangement of matter in the universe? Or is matter the most basic expression of universal consciousness? The answer will determine not just the future of science, but the future of what it means to exist in a conscious universe. And that answer is closer than ever before. What do you think about these developments in consciousness research? Could artificial intelligence already be conscious? Should we be preparing for digital immortality? Are we on the verge of discovering that consciousness is fundamental to the universe itself? Share this video with anyone who's fascinated by the deepest mysteries of existence. Subscribe to Universal Insights for more explorations of consciousness, reality, and the secrets that are transforming our understanding of what it means to be alive in this extraordinary universe. And let me know in the comments which aspect of consciousness research excites or concerns you the most. The future of consciousness itself is being written right now, and your thoughts and perspectives are part of this unprecedented moment in the history of human